Under the blazing lights of a packed arena, a storm was about to be unleashed. Two men stood on opposite sides of a canvas that would soon become a battlefield. One carried the size and the natural strength that comes from years of dominating the welterweight division. The other carried something far more dangerous. Speed that could not be taught, timing that could not be measured, and a hunger that had been building for years. This was not just another fight night. This was the night everything would change. In the red corner stood the reigning WBC welterweight champion of the world, a fighter who had defended his throne with quiet confidence and a granite chin that few had ever cracked. He was bigger. He was stronger. He had reach on his side and the weight of a championship belt around his waist. Everyone in that arena knew the numbers favored him. On paper, he was the safer bet, the bigger man, the naturally stronger man. But paper does not throw punches. Paper does not duck under a right hand that arrives faster than the eye can follow. Across the ring, in the blue corner stood the challenger, a former champion himself, a man written off by doubters after a rough patch that made people question whether the fire still burned inside him. But doubt has a strange effect on certain fighters. Instead of breaking them, it sharpens them. It turns them into something far more dangerous than they were before. And on this night, the challenger walked to the center of that ring carrying every ounce of that doubt like fuel for what was about to happen. The referee called both men forward. Touch gloves. Protect yourselves at all times. Listen to the commands. Standard words spoken before every fight. But something in the air felt different this time. The crowd could feel it. The commentators could feel it. Even the trainers standing in each corner could feel it. This was going to be fast. This was going to be violent. And it was going to be unforgettable. The bell rang and the storm arrived almost instantly. Within seconds of the opening round, the challenger exploded forward with a right hand that nobody in that building expected to land so soon. It cracked through the champion's guard like it wasn't even there. The bigger man's legs buckled. His body dropped the canvas in front of a crowd that erupted into pure disbelief. A knockdown in the opening moments of the biggest fight of his life. It was the kind of moment that either breaks a man completely or ignites something inside him that had been sleeping for years. The champion rose to his feet on shaky legs. His trainer's voice echoed from the corner, urging him to slip the punches, to stop walking directly into fire, to protect himself at all times just as the referee had instructed before the opening bell. But early instructions are easy to give and much harder to follow once adrenaline and instinct take over inside a boxing ring. The champion tried to plant his feet. He tried to find his rhythm, but the man in front of him was already operating on a different level. As the rounds progressed, the gap between the two fighters became impossible to ignore. The challenger was not just landing punches. He was landing statements. Every jab was a message. Every right hand was a warning. He began targeting the body, hoping to slow the bigger man down the way smart boxers have done for generations. Body shots that steal the legs. Body shots that steal the will. And every time the champion tried to counter, he found himself a half second too slow. A half second that in professional boxing might as well be an eternity. There were flashes of resistance. A sharp uppercut here. A counter left hook there. The champion showed heart. He showed that granite chin everyone had talked about for years. He absorbed shots that would have ended lesser fighters and somehow remained upright. But absorbing punishment is not the same as winning rounds. And round after round, the challenger continued piling up offense while the champion searched desperately for the opening that never seemed to fully arrive. By the middle rounds, something remarkable was happening in real time. A fighter who had once been doubted was now dictating every single exchange. His feints were causing hesitation. A fake right hand followed by a lightning-quick left would freeze the champion just long enough to eat a clean shot. Speed does something cruel to fighters who rely on power alone. It makes them second-guess every movement. It makes the ring feel smaller and smaller with every passing round. The corner advice grew louder and more desperate as the fight wore on. Keep both hands up, stop walking forward into punches, create distance and force him to work for every shot. But desperation from the corner rarely translates into results inside the ring when the man across from you refuses to slow down. The challenger kept the pressure building. Not wild, reckless pressure, but calculated, intelligent pressure from a fighter who had clearly studied every weakness his opponent carried into that ring. There was a moment midway through the fight where the champion appeared completely lost in space. A combination sent him stumbling sideways, searching for balance, while the crowd rose to their feet, sensing that the finish might be close. He staggered. He absorbed another clean shot, and somehow, through sheer will and championship pedigree, he remained standing. It was a testament to his toughness, even as it became increasingly clear that toughness alone would not be enough to turn this fight around. Round after round, the challenger's jab became a weapon of pure punishment. Not a lazy exploratory jab thrown just to keep distance, but a purposeful weapon designed to break down both the guard and the confidence of the man in front of him. Every jab said the same thing. I am not here to steal a few rounds. I am here to take everything. And the champion, whose reputation had been built on power and durability, found himself unable to solve a puzzle that kept shifting speeds and angles every single time he thought he had figured out. The commentary from ringside grew more intense with every passing minute. Analysts who had questioned the challenger's readiness before the opening bell now found themselves in awe of what they were witnessing. This was not the same fighter who had struggled in previous outings. This was a completely elevated version. A fighter who had rebuilt his defense while somehow making his offense even sharper. The champion, by contrast, looked increasingly frustrated. His trademark composure began slipping away, replaced by visible urgency as round after round slipped further from his grasp. As the fight moved into its final stretch, the challenger showed no signs of slowing down. If anything, he grew more confident with every exchange. He began mixing his shots with precision that suggested complete control of the fight. A left hook to set up a straight right. A feint to draw a reaction, followed by a combination that found its mark almost effortlessly. The champion tried valiantly to change the tide. He pushed forward looking for the one shot that could turn everything around in an instant, the way boxing always promises is possible. But the challenger's reflexes and ring intelligence made that single fight-changing moment feel further away with every passing round. In the closing round, the arena reached a fever pitch. 10 seconds remained before history would officially be written. The challenger, who had walked in carrying doubt and unanswered questions about his ability to compete at this elite level, was now standing on the verge of becoming a world champion once again. The final bell rang and both fighters raised their hands, acknowledging a battle that neither of them would ever forget, regardless of what the judges' scorecards would ultimately reveal. When the scores were finally read aloud, there was no controversy, no split decision drama, no moment of uncertainty hanging in the air. The judges had seen exactly what the crowd had seen: a dominant performance from bell to bell, a changing of the guard delivered not through luck, but through preparation, speed, and an unshakable belief that had been quietly building inside the challenger long before he ever stepped into that ring. The new champion stood in the center of the ring as his name echoed through the arena, chants rising from every direction as fans who had once questioned his path back to greatness now celebrated performance that will be remembered for years to come. This was more than a victory. This was validation. Proof that doubt and criticism, when channeled correctly, can become the exact fuel needed to produce a career-defining night. For the former champion, standing across the ring, the moment carried a different weight entirely. He had walked in as the favorite. He had walked in with size, strength, and a championship legacy on the line. And he walked out having learned one of boxing's oldest and cruelest lessons. Power and size mean very little when speed, timing, and preparation arrive at their absolute peak on the same night. It was not a lack of heart that cost him this fight. It was simply facing a version of his opponent that nobody could have fully predicted. This fight will be remembered as one of those rare nights where everything the fans hoped for actually happened inside the ropes. A knockdown within seconds. Relentless pressure sustained across 12 grueling rounds. A former doubted fighter proving every critic wrong in the most emphatic way possible. And a new champion crowned in front of a crowd that will tell stories about this night for years to come. Boxing has always been a sport built on moments like this. Moments where legacy hangs in the balance with every single punch thrown. Moments where a single right hand can rewrite the entire narrative of career. On this night, one man rewrote his story, completely stepping out of the shadow of doubt and into the bright light of championship glory. And somewhere deep inside every person who watched this fight unfold, there was a reminder of something far bigger than boxing itself. that true greatness is never given. It is earned through relentless preparation, through absorbing criticism and doubt, and transforming it into something unstoppable when the moment finally arrives.